welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we always talk about technology changing the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, today, we're looking at a report about Ethiopia,
Okay.
and it shows just how true that is, especially there.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating case study. It shows the challenges and also the opportunities of trying to build a digital economy, especially in a developing nation.
And the report does a great job. It paints a picture of their telecom and digital banking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a progress report, but with some twists.
Yeah, and at the heart of it all, it's this tension. Ethiopia's government is trying to figure out how to raise revenue,
Right.
but at the same time, they want to foster a booming digital economy.
Right.
And some of their strategies are, well, let's just say they're causing a stir.
Yeah, definitely. So let's unpack all that.
Okay.
So the report talks about how mobile money in Ethiopia is essential.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's how they do all their banking, sending money, paying bills, everything.
It's a lifeline to participate in the financial system.
Yeah.
Especially in areas where, there just aren't banks.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's where it gets kind of interesting. Ethiopia just put in a VAT, a value-added tax,
Right.
on mobile money transactions.
Oh, wow.
And you might think, at first, that's good for the government.
Yeah. Easy revenue, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
More revenue, problem solved.
And not so fast.
Yeah.
Gotta think about all the things that could happen that, nobody wants. Even a small tax can have a huge impact, especially because people are really sensitive to price changes with mobile money.
That's true.
Yeah.
And this report, it cites a GSMA estimate
Oh, wow.
that says transaction values could, get this, they could drop by 50%.
50%.
Because of this VAT.
Wow, that's huge. And not just for, the government's revenue, but also for all the people who rely on mobile money.
It's a big blow to businesses and people, especially those who are already struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
So is it worth it?
That's the question, isn't it? Is this short-term tax revenue worth possibly damaging the digital economy in the long run?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
And it's not just mobile money they're looking at. The report also criticizes these taxes on things like smartphones.
Right.
We kind of take them for granted.
Totally.
But in a developing economy like Ethiopia, smartphones, they're a gateway to so much opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Education, jobs, connecting with the world.
So making those devices more expensive through taxes has a real impact on people.
It closes a door that was just starting to open.
Exactly. It's limiting access to information, essential services, and it hurts the digital ecosystem from growing.
Yeah.
And then the report also looks at the bureaucracy that's slowing down telecom infrastructure.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's like they have these really complicated permit processes.
Right.
And it can take forever to get through them.
It's classic red tape, stifling innovation. We see it in so many industries. Too many regulations, and people don't want to invest, and things slow to a crawl.
It's frustrating, especially because you see all this potential in Ethiopia.
It's like they're right there, ready for this digital revolution, but these roadblocks are in the way.
And that makes the positive things in the report
Yeah.
even more interesting. Because it's not all bad news, is it?
Right.
There are some good things happening.
Yeah, definitely. There's hope. The telecom sector, for example, added a solid 8% to Ethiopia's GDP in 2023, and mobile phone ownership is going up.
So we're seeing a nation that's really close to a digital transformation.
It's an exciting time, but there are definitely some serious challenges that they have to address.
And on top of all that, there's this data gap.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The GSMA couldn't even do surveys in some areas because of security concerns.
Wow. So we're only seeing part of the picture.
Yeah, exactly. Which means things could be better than we think, or maybe even worse in some places.
It really makes you wonder what's happening in those areas where they couldn't get data.
Yeah.
But even with that, there are some trends that are pretty clear.
Definitely.
It really makes you wonder what's going on in those places where they couldn't get data.
Yeah.
But even with what we do have, you can see some trends.
For sure. One that really stands out, it's the growth in mobile phone ownership in Ethiopia. Despite everything we just talked about, the report says that 93% of people in cities have a mobile phone.
93%? That's amazing.
It is. And even in rural areas, it's 60%. But, and there's always a but, right?
Right.
The report also says that the biggest things stopping people from using the internet are, well, no surprise, the cost of phones, the
Yeah.
cost of data, and not always having a good connection.
So even if people have the phone, being able to afford data and get a reliable connection is still a big problem.
It is. And, internet access isn't just about like looking at social media. It's about education, finding jobs, being part of the world. It's about having power.
It's so much more than just entertainment. It's about having a voice
Exactly.
and being able to contribute.
Yeah. And that's what makes this statistic about only 11% of Ethiopians earning money from the internet so surprising.
Only 11%, but so many people have phones.
I know, right? It shows that there's so much potential that's not being used. Think about it. If that number went up even a little, what could that do for people and the whole Ethiopian economy?
That's a good point. It shows how important these policy decisions are. It's not just numbers, it's people's lives.
For sure. It goes back to that main tension we talked about, trying to balance the government's need for money and the need to build a strong digital economy. It's tough, no easy answers.
This report really makes you think.
It does. It shows the potential, the problems, and how important it is to get these policies right. If Ethiopia can get over those hurdles, the future looks pretty amazing.
Yeah, speaking of hurdles, the report does have some ideas on how to move forward.
It does. One big one is to lower or even stop taxes on digital financial services for a while.
To help people out who are most affected by price.
Exactly. And they also talk about making it easier to get permits for telecom infrastructure, like cut the red tape so more people will invest and things will move faster.
Sounds good, but I bet making those changes happen and finding the right balance, well, that's going to be a challenge.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Lots of different people are going to have different opinions. But the report's suggestions give them a good place to start.
And it's not just about getting rid of taxes and rules. The report also says they should offer incentives for things like digital finance and international communication services.
Yeah, create a better environment for digital growth, to help with those challenges we talked about.
So encourage growth in one area to help with slowdowns in another.
Exactly. Finding those things that can make a positive difference.
Yeah, it's a tough job finding that mix of policies to help things grow in a sustainable way.
It is. And even with those data gaps and all the challenges, you can still see a lot of optimism in the report.
I agree. It feels like Ethiopia is right on the edge of something big.
The potential is huge for growth, innovation, positive change.
It makes you hope they make the right decisions. Unlock that potential, see what they can do.
Yeah, it makes you think about what governments should be doing in this digital world, especially with technology changing so fast.
That's a good question. What do you think? How can they balance making money with building a digital economy that helps everyone?
It's a complex issue, lots of different factors, but it's a conversation we need to keep having as more and more countries face these same challenges.
I agree. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Ethiopia's digital world. It's been really interesting to look at the problems and the opportunities.
It's a story that's still being written. We'll be watching to see what happens.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives on interesting topics like this one. Until next time.